Let's go do the what?
Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year Magical Learning, this journey of life term learning. So it's going to be multi-year, even though it's a year magical learning.
Yeah.
We will continue this. And so today we are on another great book. And I think it's unique enough that people can say, well, I'm surprised by this and by that. So let's talk about the lesson for the day, like 176. So I'll have Chris introduce it and then we can talk.
Yeah. So this book is, I don't even know how to describe this book. This book pains me. This book pains me to my core. I mean, it's a great book, but it just pains me to my core. I mean, like it hurts. It's a book called Into Thin Air: A Personal Account of the Mount Everest Disaster by Jon Krakauer. So if you remember Jon Krakauer, he was the author of Into the Wild, which was couple reflections ago about Christopher McCandless, and he was searching
the
for
Alaskan bush.
he went into the Alaskan bush, and yeah, no, it was really good. That was a really good story, but also a lot of good lessons learned. Well, Jon Krakauer wrote this book, which was a personal account about the Mount Everest disaster of, I think it was 1996. Jon Krakauer, if you don't, I mean, you probably don't know if you're tuning into this or unless you've read this, but he's a mountaineer. So he does some really technical climbing. He talks a lot about it in his book and in general at the beginning of it. And climbing's a love of his. And he's always his whole life wanted to climb Mount Everest. He's also a reporter, and he worked for, I think it was Outdoor Magazine, or I can't remember what. I think it was Outdoor Magazine or something like that was what he was reporting for. He got an opportunity by Rob Hall and Scott Fisher, where these two. This is like back when in the early days of taking guided groups up Everest. It had become kind of a touristy thing, like hey, we can take you in a group together up the mountain. And I think it was Rob. I can't remember. Krakauer went with Rob Hall, and he was an American, and Scott Fisher, I think, was Australian. I can't remember, or South African, one of the two. It doesn't matter either way. These two had competing groups. Both of them were expert mountaineers and both had climbed Everest in the past. And Rob, they were kind of competing for supremacy on the mountain, like of these expeditions. If they could successfully bring a group up and down the mountain, that grows their in the world,
And at the end
right?
of the day, bottom line.
Yeah. So Jon Krakauer, like they invited him because they thought, hey, this would be great if we invite a reporter, we'll pay his way and he can document his whole experience, that he can share about how great Rob Hall was, and his expedition. And John was supposed to go there to give an account of kind of like littering on the mountain, because there were so many people now that were scaling the mountain and they were leaving all their oxygen bottles and all their camping equipment as they scuttled back down, and it was becoming like, you can't get that shit off the mountain. So like his lens on the story was about littering, right? Like, trying to writing for Outdoor Magazine is why he went on this whole thing. Anyway, so they go up, they take this trek up the mountain. He trains with this group of people that Rob Hall, his expedition is taking up the mountain, and there was a competing group with Scott Fisher's group who kind of was going with him in tandem. They were going up the mountain together, but not like together. They had their own expeditions. And on the day that they summited Everest, like halfway through the day in the afternoon, about half of them had already summited and half of them hadn't yet. This massive storm just rolled through the valley below Everest, and it just engulfed all those people that were trying to come back down the mountain, and they got stranded out there. I think like 11 people died, maybe, or something like that out of these expeditions. Like John survived, as well as the two guides died, Rob and Scott. And a bunch of other people died, but there was probably like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people or something like that. I can't remember exactly the numbers of the expeditions between the two parties that survived. It wasn't a lot. It was the majority of the people died. So this book is about Jon Krakauer's personal experience. Okay, sorry about that. I don't. Something was like stuck in my nose. I could not breathe. So this is John's personal account of his trip up Everest and what happened basically. So he still wrote his story. I mean, all I could think about, like at the start of this reflection, with the reflection title is going against nature. You wanted me to say don't go against nature, which is what I was saying, is don't go against nature.
I'm saying is when we're talking about the reflections in general, it's for me to take, right? You telling me what I need to learn.
Right.
And so I need you to tell me not to go against nature.
All I could think about after I finished this book, I swear to you, like I could not get this book out of my mind. Jon Krakauer is a really good writer. I could see myself. And this was a personal account of his. Like this wasn't like, this was a really good writer that was writing about what he experienced and what he saw, what he saw of these people. Like it reminded me a lot of my own book. I Can't Imagine. It was like a play-by-play of the events. It wasn't like, or at least the first half of the book, of my book. Like there wasn't a whole lot of reflective writing in this by Jon Krakauer. It was more journalistic writing, but man, I could visualize myself like right there next to these people every step of the way, and it sucked. Like it was just awful. Like it was torturous. It was horrible. The storm was horrible. Everything was. I couldn't get this out of my mind, and the only thing I could think about after I finished this book was like, what the fuck were they doing? This didn't have to happen. I was like, why are you up here on this mountain at all? And like, here's the thing that I've learned, on this journey is when you go against nature, like nature will inflict. That's its job. When you go against nature, nature's job is to say no, and it will inflict pain and suffering on you, right? I mean, that is nature's job. These people voluntarily. This isn't the final frontier. This isn't a new frontier. This isn't doing some miracle activity that nobody's ever tried before. This isn't pain that was inflicted on them that they didn't choose. This is just straight up, I want pain for pain's sake and to see what Mother Nature's wrath looks like. And then to come back and pretend like I'd said that I did it or not. Like I don't get it. I think of it makes me think of my daughter. Like my family went through a lot of pain and trauma. My daughter went through a lot of pain and trauma. I saw it. I saw what happened when you went against Mother Nature. She was born 4 months premature. She wasn't supposed to be here. Mother Nature was her wrath and fury were out in full force when my daughter was born. And Amelia endured and fought, and she did what humans do. Same thing with these people on Everest. They endured and they fought, and they came back with some crazy stories, right? And a lot of lessons learned. But for what? Like Amelia was fighting for a chance at life. She didn't choose that. She just fought because she was a human fighting, right? Sometimes Mother Nature's wrath, you can't control it. But I for damn sure, like, will not ever challenge Mother Nature ever just for fun. Like, I mean, that is not a fun activity that anybody should be trying to do. I'm sure Jon Krakauer's life changed after this. I'm sure the 5 other whatever survivors' lives changed after this. And I'm sure they had their atomic bomb that they invented themselves, right? Like, and I'm sure they had all these other revelations about the importance of life and all this other stuff that came from this event. But why the fuck would you choose this? It really hurt listening to this book. I was like, if you asked me, hey, Chris, do you want your child to be born 4 months premature and then, watch them suffer for 39 days? And, maybe she survives, maybe she doesn't. Fuck you. No. I mean, like, I'm not ever going to do that unless somebody told me, hey, if this happened, maybe we can save 500 other million people's lives or something like that. The answer is
still no.
Like, my answer is no, but like maybe somebody's answer could be,
well,
okay,
that's their prerogative, not mine.
Right. It's like going to the moon. Like, remember when we just did Rocket Men? Like these people sacrificed their lives to go to unknown territories for the better good of humanity in a lot of ways. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into. And they tried something. It was dangerous as hell. They came back. They probably learned a lot of lessons. They went against Mother Nature and they survived. And they probably learned a lot of lessons. But at the same time, I can respect that because they were doing something for humanity. These people aren't doing anything for humanity. They were just up there for sport. Like, they were up there for, I don't even know what the fuck they were up there for. They weren't even trained mountaineers. They didn't even pay their dues to get on that mountain. These were people that were just like, hey, I'm going to pay some money and have somebody guide me up this mountain. And oh shit, like Mother Nature, rolls in while we're up on, sorry to disturb you while you're summiting in an area that you shouldn't be. And Mother Nature rolls in a huge storm and people's families are ruined and lives are wrecked. And, lives are like, I mean, for what? Like, that's all I could think about the entire time was, going against Mother Nature. Don't ever, ever, ever do it unless you absolutely have to. Unless you absolutely, I mean, I don't know. In a lot of ways, and I summed it up with a lot of ways, that this is your magical learning in a nutshell. This is about understanding nature and everything that I can do to work with it and not against it. I will never, ever put myself in that spot. I'm not doing that. I respect the enduring ability of humanity more than anything, but this journey is about going with Mother Nature, not against it. That's where you find balance and harmony. Is Mother Nature, like we were talking about last night, like everything is right. Like when you go against it, you get not harmony. Like, that's just not what I want to be. The question is, are you going with nature or fighting against it? I'd love to get your thoughts. I'm sure you have some good thoughts about this.
I mean, like I said, for me, right off the bat, the reflection for me or the lessons that I'm going to take for myself is don't go against nature.
By choice.
Like, by choice. I mean, the thing is, that's just, so I think this deserves the saying, a beaver must dam.
Right.
Because you think about it, if you take a beaver
Put
and
them in
you
the desert.
throw him
Yeah.
into the tundra, right? The
Right.
Arctic snow or whatever, right? That's going against nature. There's no way a beaver is going to survive. He can't even keep himself alive to
Right.
even build a dam or even looking for a dam. You can't really be yourself or be a beaver without be in harmony with Mother Nature. And you look
Right.
at Mother Nature, it's like if you have to take an analogy, if you go up against, I don't know, a bulldog or whatever, right? An ant versus a bulldog, right? You just can't go against something that is 100 times your size. When I look at Mother Nature is an entity that has millions of years of training.
Right.
That means that over the millions of years that she has been doing this thing, she's been doing it for a million years. And you, as a blip of a existence, is trying to go against that. That's why I'm saying if you're an ant going against a bulldog or human beings or somebody 100 times, 1,000 times, a million times or larger than you, the odds for you winning is almost zero. I mean, you
Agreed.
can probably survive because Mother Nature let off. Just like maybe a dog put a paws on the ant, and then maybe took his
Right.
paws
Right.
off of you,
Exactly. Yeah.
and you
Right.
may survive, right? And that's probably by accident that bulldog puts a paw on the ant, and not
Right.
by the malicious intent. You think about the magnitude of what Mother Nature has versus you. You have a very minuscule bit of existence versus the monumentous eons
Yeah.
of training and conditioning and evolution that Mother Nature has gone through to get to this point, right? So for me,
It's insane.
it is insane. And like I said, it's become so idiotic for someone to choose to go against Mother Nature. It's like going and say, okay, this is an atomic bomb, a literal atomic bomb. I'm gonna stand there. I'm gonna light the fuse and see what happens. This
Yeah.
is
Just
exactly the image I have in my head
it
when
is.
these guys are actually going up there. What are you going up there for? Are you going up there for some kind of like cure for the human race? Okay, maybe some. I mean, I can work with that. Even if that's the case, or you're going up there to bring home these valuable benefits to humanity, whatever. Even then, there are better ways to do it. Versus just, oh, I'm just gonna go because I have some money. I'm gonna
Plant a
pay
flag and
somebody
go
to
home.
right
Yeah.
and plant a flag and say what? Because
Take a
I
photo.
have a big kahunas that I
Right.
can go on to this enduring whatever, like blistering cold Mount Everest. Like, who give a
No
fuck?
air.
Who
No
no one cares
oxygen.
about you. I
Right.
mean, you think about it, like the people who, like, for me, there's a lot of people have climbed or conquer Mount Everest. Can you ask me, do I know who they are? I have no
Edmund
clue.
Hillary. You know who Sergey.
But I don't
You know
care. The point is, I don't care. I don't know who they are, and I don't care.
Edmund. You know who Edmund Hillary is. He's the first one, and that's fine. I don't mind it.
But my point is, no one cares. No
No.
one
Yeah.
cares. But the
Right.
point is, if you go up there because you think you have big kahunas and you want to show the world that you are the whatever, right? The reality is, no one give a shit. I'm sorry,
No one
no
cares.
one no one give a shit about it because
Scott,
this is.
Scott, I care more about their family now. Where I'm like, you lost a father, you lost a husband, these people lost everything because you guys wanted to go play God on a mountain, and you're not God. Like I mean,
And that's
grow up
what
without
that's what
fathers, and yeah.
I mean. This is the kind of things that bothers me the most. Is, there's a lot of people who were just thrust into the situation and they have to survive, and they search for the best way to survive. These guys have all the things they have going for them, and then they choose to put themselves in a situation where it basically becomes their demise. To
Yeah,
me, that was bothering me the most. I mean, for
it's
you, I mean, your
it's
daughter was
troubling.
born out of because it was thrust upon you and your
Her.
family. You didn't choose it. You didn't ask for it, and you didn't want it. These people want it and ask for it and even pay for it To me,
Yeah,
this is
they
the
paid for it.
asinine of that, right? That's what
Right.
I'm saying is for me is like I understand there are random things you can't control, but there's things you can't control and you just piss it away. That is actually what gripes me the most. Not only that you
Angry.
piss off your
I
life, you also put your family and your friends and the people who love you at the the worst spot, the most anguish. To me, that's the
it's
most
horrible.
selfish, the most
It's
idiotic thing you can do.
it's almost like as bad as committing suicide, almost, like, in my opinion. I mean, it's
It is.
the human ability to endure is it's one of our core values of company, right? Like, I love our ability to endure, but we endure when we have to endure. We don't endure
That's
for
what that's
fun.
a me.
Like,
That's to me. That's a definition of enduring. Why it's not enduring. It's just being stupid.
agreed. I mean, we endure when we have to endure. We adapt when we have to adapt. When Mother Nature throws something into our path and we're like, hey, we have to be versatile here and we have to figure out a way forward. An atomic bomb gets dropped in your lap. It's not cool. It's not fun. Nobody wants it. Nobody's
Don't search for
craving
atomic
this
bomb.
stuff.
I mean,
Like,
search for atomic bomb and try to say, hey, let's see if I can survive this.
it's insane. It
Chances are
literally,
you
I mean,
won't.
I can't. I mean, you can probably hear I'm fired up right now about this. Like, after I finished this book, I couldn't get this out of my head for days. All I could just see was these people suffering in on a mountaintop for what? Like, I was like, what is the point? Even as I'm listening to him tell this whole story, I'm like, this story is riveting, and yes, I bought it, and yes, I'm listening to it, and yes, I'm going through this experience with you, and yes, I almost feel ashamed that I read it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's almost like, on the news where you hear a terrorist attack or like some, shooting that happens at a nightclub, or like, the Pulse nightclub, or the thing that happened in Vegas. I almost feel bad for observing it. Like, it's nobody asked for those things. And I'm just like, as humans, we like to watch the shit show. We like to see, the idiots that have gone into the atomic blast for no reason at all, and to see like what's going to happen. Like, how do they feel when they're in that? I mean, yes, we have a natural desire to want to peek in and go, why are you doing this? So like, you watch the news, you read books like this, and I don't know, I honestly feel bad that I did it. I learned nothing from this book other than don't ever do that. Don't ever even consider it. Don't ever fight the wrath of Mother Nature. And even if you do win, you're an idiot. You get nothing. I don't even think that the lessons that these people learned are validated, in my opinion, because they learned them in the wrong way. It is one thing to learn by being forced into something and have to find your way through it. It is quite another thing to just throw yourself into it and say, like, I just want, like, I mean, even we love learning, right? Like, we love it, but like, I'm not going to go to the lengths of,
I mean, the thing is, people
myself to
take it for the wrong way because there is a way. For me, like for example, we take the compound effect, right? We learn the compound effect, but the thing is, we know the compound effect can go both ways. It's up and down. But I'm asking you, do you want compound effect downward?
No.
You
I'm
want
gonna go be homeless just because I want to.
you people take it the wrong way. It's not about, hey, I want to learn something. Oh, let me inflict these cancer cells on myself and see if
Right.
I can feel anything.
Can you imagine that?
Like, let's imagine, taking a gun and shoot my brain and see what it feels like, right? Man, that's learning.
You're right.
That's learning, but that's the thing is, I think you're missing the concept here.
Right.
Right. The concept isn't to go downward and to go into the oblivion. The concept is to battle yourself to get to the point where you enjoy the moment of your existence. You enjoy the expressions of who you are and what you can do. Like I told you, if you're physically fit, you would rather walk and run than be in a wheelchair.
Agreed. I'm not going to spend my life in a wheelchair when I know I can run every day, right? Like, if anything, it's your analogies are great.
Don't be a donkey in a shed, right?
Right.
A donkey is sheltered in a shed. Why can't he live in a shed? That's not what he's supposed to do. It's not his expression.
Right.
So to me, that's the point. Is you can't just take anything and say, well, in the spirit learning, I'm going to bash my head against a wall and see my and see my brain is gonna how much my cranial can protect my little squishy brain. Let's test it out, and so that people can write a book about me smashing my head against the wall, and they say, well, after the 20th bash against the wall with this force, right? They had split open and die, right? That's my contribution to society. You think about how I describe that. That's beyond asinine.
Stupid. It's beyond that. That's not to say that we can't learn from somebody that's in a car wreck, in their accident, and it's thrust onto them and they survived and whatever. I'm not saying that bad shit happens. It's going to happen. Your analogies are spot on. Cancer is going to happen to people. People are going to die. But I think the cancer thing is a great example. If you could just inject cancer into your body or something like that, just to see how your body metabolizes it, and maybe you can fight it off, maybe you can't. What can you learn out of that? What can you not learn out of that? There's plenty of people that's going to happen to. You could go study them. You do not need to go actively choose that. I don't know how else you can say it better than that, because that's what it is, right?
That's the thing is, we're talking about Mother Nature, right? To me, I mean, you can state the exceptions all you want, but for me, Mother Nature wins 100% of the time.
Oh,
you may survive because Mother Nature lets up of whatever she does to you. She lets up. You may be able to survive and crawl out of the crushing blow that she gives you, but you didn't win. Mother Nature wins 100% of all the time. So you can state exceptions all you want, but in my mind, you can't win. Zero. You have no chance of winning. So go back to what we were saying before is, there are certain things that you can control and you have to endure. Do the best you can. And hopefully Mother Nature will let up and let you survive.
Right.
To me, that's just committing suicide.
It is. I mean, it 100% is. In the just piggybacking on that thought, the beauty of humanity, you think about, okay, into thin air, right? Why is it called that? Because when you're up into the death zone, it's called the literal death zone. Humans aren't supposed to be there. But you know where they can be? They can be in a plane above that. We invented planes. We were hey, we fly way higher than Mount Everest, we are innovative. We are problem solvers. We are adaptable.
That's what I'm saying. Even if you have to go up the fucking mountain to bring down the miracle medicine to cure your daughter that has been sick and there's no uncurable disease, there's better way to do it than to go do that way.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to do that. No one needed to do that. Maybe Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, respect. We learned what the death zone was. We learned we can't breathe at a certain point in time. We need to find another way to go higher, we learned from what they did, but we did not learn from what these people did. All we learned is don't do what these people did.
It's such a waste.
But it gets worse. Look at Everest, Everest, peak season. Look at these people on these mountains these days. Look at these lines of people that are just, this is Everest now. These are people, it's we've normalized. Why? I don't know. The death rate is still really high. It's not like this is, easy still. Actually,
why?
That's my ass even. Look at all these people right here. Look at this line to summit Everest. First off, why? Second off, what they're not only that, they all fucking cheat. They're fucking cheaters because they use Sherpas to go take all their bags up. They use oxygen to go up to the top anyway. What's the point? You're not only are you shouldn't not be there, you cheat your way up to the top of it and you still have a chance to die. It's what
even when you're cheating, you're not even smart about cheating.
And they litter the whole mountain, I don't know. This
maybe they lack a few brain cells, and maybe if they die off, humanity will be better off.
I don't know. I'm just dumbfounded by this whole book, this whole experience. I will never forget this book because this lesson's a really important lesson. It makes me even happier. Our mission of going for balance, going with Mother Nature.
It's going for harmony.
It's running downhill. It's swimming downstream. It's whatever analogy you want to do. Mother Nature's guiding us this way, telling us this is how we should be, this is how we should feel, and listen to yourself, respond to yourself, understand what you care about, understand what energizes you, listening to that and running downhill, that feels way fucking better than climbing a mountain into the death zone when you can't even, Jon Krakauer even says, he's this isn't even technical rock climbing. He's I'm a technical rock climber. He's anybody can climb Everest. It's really how long can you suffer and endure, just letting your body deteriorate.
Just inject some cancer cell into your body and see how long you endure. It's not like climbing. You basically walking up this slope of a mountain and see how long you can survive the thin air.
See how
and
long it
the
takes your body
cold.
to deteriorate. Yeah, I mean, pretty much, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, well, inject this disease into yourself and see how long till you die, you take your last breath. This is the exact same analogy that I can
It
think of.
is. It really is.
It is ridiculous.
It's disgusting is what it is to me. Like, talk about where you find core values. You remember how we've talked about this before? Disgust. You either find it by the things that just energize you or the things that disgust you. This disgusts me. Like, this makes me want to go everything in my, talk about going against Mother Nature. I think this is for a reason. I think that we're having this feeling for a reason, because Mother Nature is telling you this should disgust you. Do not do this. Do not challenge me.
Because the people who are attracted to these core values, they eventually don't survive, right? And the people who are left has the core value is don't go against Mother Nature.
Right.
We multiply, and because of the society as a whole believes in the don't go against Mother Nature, the society itself, like me and you, is disgusted by the choosing of becoming this idiotic mission of going up the mountain and for God knows what. To me, they basically are rarely in the populace just because they don't survive that long to even have an influence on the rest of our society. Like I say, if you can endure, you can live longer, you have more opportunity to pass on your gene, and your genes will carry on. The core values of respecting Mother Nature, then your offspring, right? So you live longer, you produce more offspring, and your offspring inherit those core values because those genes you have, right, is passed on, and they too will respect Mother Nature. There's going to be some evolution where there's going to be some becoming like, hey, I want to go up this Mount Everest just because, well, they don't actually survive that many. So they become like the outer limits of whatever you call the distribution curve, right? It's just out there and they completely fall off of the cliff. I mean, like metaphorically falls off of the cliff of the human lineage.
I could not agree more. Even people of Nepal that live in these areas, the Sherpas, like they lived there forever. And they were like, we don't go up there. Like, when it makes noise, we don't do it. The only reason they went up there is because they got paid, and they're like, yeah, our bodies have acclimated a little bit better, but we all know how dangerous this is. He talked a lot about it in this book, how much they respect the mountain. They had like specific names. I mean, there was like the relationship between those people and that mountain was like sacred, because they were like, we get it. Like, we understand you don't.
Yeah, you don't go against that thing that has the ability to crush you. I just don't. You call it Mount Everest, you call it Mother Nature, you call it whatever you want, right? But like I said, I don't worship Mother Nature, but I'm not gonna go against Mother Nature. I'm gonna say, I don't worship the Mother Nature, but I know Mother Nature is not exactly this kind of entity that you and I, in the same realm as you and I, right? There's something else, just like we're talking about the balanced disc versus the core values. They're not the same thing, but at the same time, we know that Mother Nature has millions and even billions of years of evolution, and she has been here for that long. Eventually, she has been exposed to all the probabilities of all things, and whatever is left is whatever is the most optimal for that probabilities. So that means if a beaver is in the river, that's the most optimal for that particular animals. And so for us, it's also different. We don't survive up in thin air because that's not where we're supposed to be. Because we don't thrive in that conditions. Right. So I'm sure
birds do. I'm sure there's birds that fly up that high.
This is called harmony. I mean,
there's organisms that live on those thermal vents in 30,000 feet below oceans where they're in lava thermal vents in the pitch dark, and there's organisms that live there. Like, they wouldn't survive where we're at right now, but they survive eating sulfur and being thousands of degrees hot in the pitch dark.
Like I said before, fish out of water, I'll put my hand in underwater. You have to harmonize with Mother Nature. Whatever your genetic makeup, your expressions of your genes needs to be in harmony with Mother Nature for you to enjoy the moment of your existence. If you don't, then it's gonna be hell. I keep having this imagery of the donkey Sherman in the shed. That's not his natural environment. Regardless of how good the environment was, it wasn't his.
Yeah, you can make a luxury hotel, barn, like he doesn't give a shit. He can't move, he can't run, he can't be a donkey, like so his hooves die. And he dies.
I can have the most, very bad of, all the royalty would ever want, but to take the fish out of water and put it on that bed, right?
Right.
All the luxury of every single, everything that you and I think is great. You take a fish out of water and put it on that bed. You think about that image for a second.
Yeah.
It's just not what it's supposed to be, right? Yes. You can't take a fish and go against his ability to fit in with nature.
Right. Well, not true. You can be a scuba diver. We are innovative. We come up with solutions around these things. Like a fish can't figure out how to survive because he wouldn't be able to invent a little fish goggle thing that's full of nice little water to keep his gills. We could probably do that. Like we did it. Scuba diving. We did it with, flying. We like humans are brilliant. We are. But the thing is, we're not made to be under the water. We're not made to be in the air, right? So yes, we can fly. We can fly on an airplane for maybe, our maximum, a few weeks, few months if you had to do it. But you want to get out. Yeah,
you want to touch on land. You want to step on land. Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, you can go on to a cruise for a week, right? Then you say, hey, I miss land, right? I need, for some reason, it feels weird. I need to be on land. Scuba diving, you can put your scuba diving gear on and you can breathe underwater, but it's not natural. Absorb a lot of nitrogen, you'll get the bends, and your body will get all jacked up if you stay down there too long. And yeah, you make a great point. Like, yes, we can momentarily, innovate because we have that faculty, right, to bridge the different. I don't know, it can't be mentioned because it's confusing, but the different environments, like the water, the atmosphere in the sky, right, on the airplane, but we made equipment to assist us in bridging that gap. But we don't get there because it was the most optimal environment for us. The most optimal environment is what we got, what we're born with. We're born with the ability to walk, to run on land, not to swim in the water, not to fly in the air. We just long for land. We long to be free. We long to, have wide open backyard and meaningful relationship and things we do is a expressions of our reflections of our expression of it. Whatever you call it, it's my calling, it's my manifest destiny, whatever you want to label that. That's how we're supposed to be. Once we are able to do that, like I say, if you have the physical faculty, you don't want to be in a wheelchair. The thing is, you just want to run. And the thing is, if you look, let's say you're an alien coming down from Earth, and you say, well, if this guy's in a wheelchair, and even if have this, somebody's wheelchair has motorized thing, you can just press a button. You don't exert any energy at all. But why aren't these guys keep walking and wasting so much of their fuel? Right. You think about it, right? So from that perspective, it's not that because something is better because it takes less energy. There's no universal. There's nothing universal about anything. It's all relative because when you have the faculties of an athletic person that has the ability to walk and run, you don't want to sit in a wheelchair and just push a button and it make a move for you. But for us, it isn't. We want to walk. We want to run. We want to do backflips, cartwheel, whatever you want. I mean, we want to do those kind of things. So same thing, a donkey must roam, and us, we have the faculty to do the, most of the things we need to born to run. Manifest of what we are. Yeah. That's harmony. That's balance. That's not going against Mother Nature. Yeah. I could not agree more and couldn't say it better myself. I mean, this might be, I don't ever want to chalk multiple lessons up to but this might be the most fundamental lesson of this whole entire journey thus far. We've talked about it in a lot of different ways, but this is about
going with the flow.
So like I said, you think
Running
about
like
it,
all those things, right?
I think that in a way, company and what we've done thus far has only a few fundamental core values and lessons that we learn. A lot of the other lessons we have are merely a confirmations of the same principle, a support, right? Because we're talking about the auto run downhill, right? A beaver must dam. Don't go against Mother Nature. These are the same lessons.
Yeah, they are. 100%.
Right? Because I'm telling you to say, hey, if you are a fucking beaver, don't try to go and find, the snow caps in the Arctic.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
and
it's funny to even think about it, to be honest with you. I mean, it should be funny for humans up on Mount Everest. Like, it should be funny. Like, it should be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing up there, man? Like, what?
I mean, you think about what I just said about the beaver. It sounds silly, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
if you apply it to these guys going up to Mount Everest, it's
like,
the same thing.
You wrote a book about it? We could have told you that we could have told you it was going to suck. And thanks for the vivid descriptions of how much it sucked not finding any dams in the Arctic or the desert.
Basically, you're asking the beaver, say, hey, I'm going to find the Arctic and see how long I survive so that my other beaver brethren can learn not to go.
We're like, we already know that, bro. Like, you don't need to go there. Like, now, if for some weird ass reason that poor beaver, I don't know, got kidnapped by some boat vessel or whatever, and I don't know, somehow was clubbed over the head and unconscious and ended up on a boat, and somehow that boat ended up in the Arctic, and he had to survive, and then he came back and told his friends, like, guys, like, this was fucked, and I'm so happy to be home, but like, do you want to hear the story? They'd be like, yeah, like, I mean, that's awful. I mean, I can't believe, like, what did you learn about life, and share to the rest of the beavers. Like, I would respect that story. But to your point, if he was like packing up his little beaver sack, and he's like, guys,
no, this damn not for me. This river is not for me. I'm looking for some, scorching sand or freezing snow and ice in the, I don't know, God's nowhere, right? That's the image that goes in my head when I see these people doing things for what? I mean, I just don't know why. I don't get it. But like, a lot of people may give me a lot of shit for saying, "Yeah, be yourself," right? I'm not telling you to be an idiot and do whatever comes to your mind, right? But be your true self, meaning who you really are. Because I say, if you're a beaver, you don't want to do things that's not a beaver. If you're a fox, right, then you don't want to be building dams. If you're a donkey, you want to be in the shed. I mean, it's a fundamental concept and fundamental principle of be who you're supposed to express, because you're given at random a certain set of genes, and those genes need to express, meaning it needs to do what it needs to do. Go back to what I'm saying before, is if you are physically fit, right, you have springs on your feet, right, you are going to be energized to walk and to run. Yep. You do not want to sit in a chair. It doesn't feel good for you, even though it's better in the grand scheme of whatever perspective that is. Like, hey, conservation of energy, for example, is not good for you to be in a wheelchair if you are able to walk and run, because it just doesn't feel like you're cooped up in a shed like the donkey is.
Right.
To me, it's like, don't take what I said at contact and say, okay, I feel angry and I'm going to say whatever I want, or I feel like, hey, this guy is not giving me the attention I need, I'm gonna go and slap him or punch him in the face, because I'm not telling you to do that, because to me, if you slap him,
probably be disgusting
punch you back.
It would probably disgust you if you sat back and reflected on it and you were like, man, I just hurt somebody for no reason at all. I feel disgusted with myself. That's when you say that's not a value. That is running uphill. That is not running downhill. You'll know when you're going uphill.
There's an
or when
art.
You're going
There's
downhill.
an art to being who you are, right? Don't take it. Like I said, we're talking about the compound effect, right? That's a lesson the concept we should learn. But there's two ways to compound effect. There's the negative way and the positive way, right? You can compound effect down, get into a bunch of debt, right? Or you can make money, or reduce your intake of your bad food, or you add the bad food, right? It goes the other way. But when we talk about the compound effect, we're not telling you to go back, because I assume that obviously you want to go the opposite, the positive way, not the negative way,
I don't know. You see people that you know that constantly run uphill. It's like we for some
And
reason
then what gets me is that the gurus out there are telling you to go uphill.
run uphill.
The gurus are telling you to go up the mountain because
Right.
that's gonna make you
Embrace
this
the
or
suck.
that, right? And you're gonna embrace the suck. You have to, I mean, the majority of the gurus out there are telling you just that because everybody's telling me rise, grind, repeat. Everybody's telling me eat a frog. Everybody's telling me to run uphill. Everyone that I've seen say, hey, you have to work hard, embrace the suck. I mean, even you tell me that. You told me when you were growing up, they told you, and one of your core values was to embrace the suck.
No, it was do the things you hate the most.
That's what you told me. That's
literally like eat the frog. Yeah, I mean, want to eat a frog. Like a raw frog does not sound good. Maybe somebody wants to eat a frog, but I don't want to eat a raw frog. It's not in my cuisine. You know, I'm with you 100%. The funny thing is, I feel like this is where we get into trouble because we're talking about lessons that we learned from pain and suffering as well. Like a lot of this journey is based out of lessons learned from pain and suffering, right? Like there is value in that and sharing that with other people. Pain and suffering is not the same though across all boards. Like the people that you're talking about, the gurus, the people that climbed Mount Everest, that came back down and said, these are the lessons that I learned, you should go climb Mount Everest. Like that's the people that are manufacturing pain and suffering to learn a lesson out of that. Like I don't know that should ever be the approach. That's the trumpets. That's the microphones on social media out there. These are the people that are loud and saying, hey, I manufactured my pain and this is what I learned. You should do it too. Like, you know, and you're like, no, you're missing the point. Pain does bring lessons, but
it's not the pain you want, it's a lesson you want.
It's
so why are you have to go through the same approach, right? If I can tell you, hey, there are other approach. What you want is a lesson.
Yes.
Not the pain.
Right.
Yes, pain will give you the lessons, but it's not the only way to get the lessons.
Agreed.
So, my philosophy, even from the beginning, is I've been through too much of it, not on purpose, but because I've been too much of the pain. I said I don't want it. I just want to know. I want to learn, but I don't want the pain. This is a question for me to find lessons I can learn without having to go through the pain. I feel like I am pretty content with the answers that I've got and lessons I've learned and have been growing in my own way. I've been growing as a person, been able to, like I said, you know, I don't run for trains. And to me, it feels great compared to how it feels when I was running my own business when I was younger.
Right?
When you're running for trains. It's a completely different state of mind. And for the gene that I have, that state of mind of not falling off a train, it's harmony versus. I'm not telling you that, hey, it's going to be the same for you. I'm just saying, hey, depending on your particular compositions of the DNA and the genes you have, you will be more in line with one another. So you have to figure that out yourself.
Right.
So for me, I had like a life of more peace of mind. I like the life of a Mexican fisherman. Go, you know, live in a small village. Fish a little bit, you know, catch 1-2 fish, go home, you know, take one fish home and trade the other 2 for other stuff, and then go hang out with my friends and shoot the breeze.
Good meal.
That's my life because my compositions of the genes wanted that, and that's in harmony with who I am as a person.
Right.
I'm not saying that's going to be you. It could be different, and that's fine. You just have to find yours.
Right. I agree. I think that's a good spot to end on for the night, though. Valuable lesson.
This is one of the core lessons of what company is about.
The compound effect, Beaver must dam, don't go against nature. I mean, I agree. I mean, these are probably
the fundamentals.
Obviously, live your values, find out who you are, and do it on purpose. I would say those are probably the top 5 that I can think of off the top of my head, but this is definitely up there for sure.
Yeah.
The question we can leave for everyone else is, are you going with nature or are you fighting against it? Are you running uphill or are you running downhill? Are you going upstream or are you going downstream? I just finished this book on shad. It's a fish that goes upstream to spawn. The book was called The Founding Fish. We'll talk about it later on down the road, but they do swim upstream and they do go against nature. They do everything they can for a reason, though. What do you think the reason is?
It's to protect the babies.
That's exactly what it is. That was my reflection.
This is what I'm calling enduring. You endure for a reason of a cost greater than yourself. You want to protect and give your offspring the best chance of survival. So you're going to give them everything you have.
You will fight, scratch, claw. You will go through.
If you have 2 tall buildings and you put a plank from one roof to the other roof and you tell me, hey, walk across the plank from one building to the next building. I won't. But if
Yeah.
my kid's over there and he's on fire, I will run across it. You
You
don't
know-
have to pay me. I will run across, because I mean, the thing is, when you do certain things, that's why I'm saying, hey, when you go up the mountain, what are you bringing down? What is it? It's a
Yes.
benefit, right? What's it that is worth more than your life that you sacrifice for? If you have that, I mean, I'm willing to listen. But
Yeah.
if you don't, and say, what the fuck are you trying to do?
If you told me that I could save Amelia by going up Mount Everest and coming back, I would do it.
You need to go get, and there's no other way to get it. And they say, well, all the helicopters are not functioning, and you can't fly up there because of the weather, and your daughter has only this amount of time, and you have the only way for you to go up there is to climb. You would
I would
go,
do it.
and
I wouldn't even think twice.
That.
I wouldn't
even think about it. You don't
Right.
even think about it, because this is where the core value comes in. Because like I told you, if my kid is on the other side of the roof on the top 2 tower and there's a plank across it, because that's more important to me than anything else.
I think we didn't touch on this the whole entire time, but the why of climbing this mountain for these people, I think that's the troubling thing. There was
That's
no
what I'm
why.
asking is why.
There was no why. There was no why. Like, I mean, there was literally zero whys for any of these people other than just because. And that I don't care. That I don't respect. If you're going to self-endure, or if you're going to self-destruct for a why, I'm okay with that. Do it all day, every day. If you're going to do it for nothing, just to say you endured, like,
that's stupid.
Fuck you. That's stupid. Yeah. Like, I agree. So awesome. All right. Well, that's a good way to end it on. And we will see you all on Monday.
Monday. Sounds good. Have
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
Blessed holidays and good Christmas to you and everybody else.
All right. We'll see you soon.